Hello, and welcome to the kitchen. My name is Katie, and I'm a dietetic intern with Seattle Pacific University, working with the Lynnwood Food Bank. Join me for some recipes and nutrition tips. Today, I'm going to be preparing a dish called Atakilt Wat. This is an Ethiopian spiced cabbage, carrot, and potato dish. It's a great side dish for a spiced protein like lentils or meat. Check out one of our other videos for Wat, which is a spiced chicken stew. I am by no means an expert in Ethiopian food or culinary techniques, but I love these dishes and I want to share them with you so that you can try them in your kitchen. Let's get started with what ingredients we need for this dish. We will need about 4 cups of shredded green cabbage. We need 1 cup of carrots, 2 cups of boiling potatoes. Here I have Yukon Gold potatoes, ½ a cup of chopped yellow onion, some fresh garlic, some fresh ginger. For our fat today, I'm going to be using cabbage. This is a clarified butter that is cooked with spices like cardamom, coriander, fenugreek, cumin, and in this case you can see from this bright yellow color there's some turmeric. You can purchase this at a local East African import or Ethiopian market, or you can make it at home. I also have the star of the show, a spice mixture called Burberry. This spice mixture starts with dried and ground Burberry pepper, so it gives it that bright red color. It's also a combination of many other spices that could include garlic, coriander, cardamom, fenugreek. Burberry spice mixture typically has between 12 and 25 spices, and so those blends can be really diverse. Again, at your East African market, you can typically find a spice blend that's pre-mixed, or sometimes you can find dried Burberry by itself and make a mixture of your own. I also have some salt here. I'm going to be using a pink Himalayan rock salt, but you could use any salt that you'd like. An iodized table salt or sea salt will work just great. That does it for our ingredients. Let's go over the few kitchen equipment items that we'll need. We need a large skillet with a lid. We'll need a spatula or spoon, some type of stirring utensil. I have a cutting board and a knife. Optional, I also have this cheese grater because I'll be going over a quick tip for mincing ginger using a grater. We have everything we need. Let's get started. We want to begin by turning our burner up to a medium heat. We're going to heat up our skillet and add about 1 tablespoon of our cabbage. This is a saturated fat. If you are looking for heart-healthy swap options, you could use liquid oil like olive oil, vegetable oil, or canola oil. Those types of oils are unsaturated fats, so they have more heart-healthy benefits. Great. Scooping this in here, and I'm just going to let that warm up. While I do, I have our onion and garlic here, which are our first 2 ingredients. I'm going to begin by chopping up this onion, just a rough chop. I have 1/2 here. I've already taken off the top and bottom and the outer skin. I'm going to go around, slicing it about 1 centimeter apart. Flipping 90 degrees and doing that again. This recipe calls for about a ½ a cup of onion. This onion's probably closer to 1 cup, but you can measure with your heart. Slice this other half. And you'll see that I already have my garlic minced here on the cutting board. The reason that I pre-minced the garlic is that with fresh garlic, when you begin to chop it apart, that starts to break apart the cells and releasing enzymes that produce a compound called allicin. Once allicin is produced, that is a heart-healthy compound that's going to give you some healthful benefits. So when you're using fresh garlic, remember to mince it about 5 to 10 minutes before you add it to your heat source for the most heart-healthy benefits. I can see that our fat is starting to melt in our skillet. Smells so good. We get a head start with all of those spices that are in that clarified butter. One trick I use to check if the skillet is hot enough, I'll take a small piece of our onion and add it into the skillet. If you start to see a little bit of a sizzle, you know that the temperature is hot enough. I hear some sizzle. I'm going to add the rest of the onion. Beautiful. I'm going to mix this around to make sure all of the onion pieces are coated in some oil. And then I'm going to cook it on medium heat for about 5 minutes until the onion becomes a little translucent. So our onions have been cooking about 4 or 5 minutes. They're looking a little translucent, a little glassy. And I just added our minced garlic. That just needs about 30 to 60 seconds to cook and start releasing its aromatic flavors. And while that's in there, I wanted to go over a couple of tips I know about mincing up ginger. So ginger is a root. It's an aromatic. It adds lots of flavor. It comes with this skin on the outside that you can remove either with a knife or with a vegetable peeler, or it's so delicate you can even remove it with a spoon. So I have this spoon here. You can use it to just rake across the outside. You don't really need to apply that much pressure at all. And you see how easily that skin comes right off. Another tip I wanted to share with you is if you're mincing the ginger, you can use a cheese grater to do that. One of the smaller grating settings, and using a stick segment of the ginger, you can just rake it up and down on the outside of the grater, and that outside skin will just naturally peel away. One important note with mincing ginger this way is that it will produce a more watery product because more of those cell walls are being broken, and so more of the water inside of the ginger is being released. If you want something drier, it's better to mince it with a knife. But for this recipe, I'm going to use this time-saving tip and mince about 1 teaspoon of our fresh ginger on our grater. There we go, easy peasy. I'm going to add this to our pan. Turned off the heat while we're talking. Going to add that ginger, and we're going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of our Burberry spice mixture. I'm going to mix it all together. The fat in the pan and the heat are going to help to release some of the oils that are in our spice mixture. Oh, I can smell it already. So fragrant. So full of flavor. So this will only need about 30 more seconds. And next we're going to add our cabbage, carrot, and potato. I've already cut up most of our potato here. I have about 1-inch cubes. If you want it bigger or smaller, that's absolutely fine. It's good to aim for the potato to be just a little bit bigger than your carrot. Evenly sized is great because they're going to cook evenly. I have one more potato just to show you how I was cutting these. Just going to start with the whole potato. I had these washed. I'm going to keep the skin on. The skin is full of lots of phytonutrients. That is the part of this vegetable that it protects it from the elements in the world, and so it's packed full of good things for your body. And just cutting up, taking on these small cubes. Potatoes are also full of fiber. They're a starchy vegetable because they are high in carbohydrate. So when thinking about planning your balanced meal, potato or grain, those things are interchangeable as the carbohydrate portion of your meal. Potatoes are also really high in potassium and magnesium, which are heart-healthy minerals. It's really high in vitamin C, which is great for immunity, and B6, which is great for your metabolism and also building red blood cells. Now that this has had a time to saute, I'm going to add a little bit more fat, about 1 more tablespoon of our kibbeh, or if you're using oil, about a tablespoon of oil. Oh yeah, this smells absolutely wonderful. Next, I'm going to add our potato. Give that a stir. Want to get each piece fully coated. If you need a little bit more fat to fully coat all of your potato, go ahead and add it now. Also going to add our cabbage and our chopped carrot. Both the cabbage and the carrot, like the potato, are really high in fiber. So this dish is a fiber-packed side dish. And fiber is really important for digestion and gut health, heart healthy. Both the cabbage and the carrot, like the potato, have vitamin C. And carrot is also an amazing source of vitamin A, which is important for your vision, for night sight. So I'm going to stir these up. And I'm also going to add about a half teaspoon of our salt. And what salt helps to do is to release the water in the cabbage and thereby kind of shrinking it down. Cabbage has a lot of water in it, and by applying salt to the outside, the salt pulls the water out of the cabbage. So next, we're going to be covering this pan and allowing it to cook on medium-low heat for about 10 minutes. That's going to help to pull the water out of the cabbage and use that water to cook the potato and the carrot so that they're nice and soft. This is looking nice and mixed together. I'm going to pop our lid in there, turn down the heat to a medium-low heat, and we'll check back in 10 minutes. So it has been about 10 minutes. I checked our potatoes, cabbage, carrot mixture about halfway through to make sure that it was cooking well, it wasn't burning. That's a good time to check and see if you need to add a little bit of water or broth just to make sure that there's enough moisture in the pan. Now it's been about 10 minutes. We're going to add about another tablespoon of oil. This time I'm going to use just a canola oil, just a little bit to add more fat in there. Give it a good stir. Make sure everything is well mixed together, and then we're going to cover it and cook it for another 10 minutes on low heat. So I just removed the lid from my skillet to check on my potatoes. Stirring them up here, it's been a little less than 10 minutes actually, and mine are looking done. And what do I mean by that? These potatoes, if I take my spatula I can easily cut all the way through one. Or if you take a fork, there's a little bit of resistance, but it's still tender. It's that perfect texture. You know it's ready to eat. I'm going to stir these up just to make sure all of the spices and the fats, all those flavors are mixed together, but these are ready to serve. You could serve them with some fresh ground black pepper, some fresh herbs like cilantro. This dish goes great with some spiced protein like lentils, or check out our Wat recipe, which is a Burberry spiced chicken stew. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you get to try it sometime. Thank you for tuning in.